Most men don't lose women overnight. They lose themselves first. It doesn't happen during a fight. It doesn't happen because of another guy. It happens quietly, in the small moments no one warns you about. The moment you start explaining yourself too much. The moment her mood decides your peace. The moment you feel anxious instead of centered. And by the time you notice something's off, the balance is already gone. This video isn't about blaming women. It's not about tricks, tactics, or pretending not to care. It's about understanding how power actually shifts in relationships and how most men unknowingly give it away while trying to do things right. If you understand these next 10 points, you'll never see attraction, respect, or relationships the same way again. Point 1. Men enter relationships without knowing the game. Most men walk into relationships believing effort equals respect. Be loyal, be available, be honest, be consistent. Sounds reasonable until it doesn't work. No one tells men that relationships aren't judged by intentions, they're judged by behavior under pressure. You're not evaluated by how good your heart is. You're evaluated by how grounded you remain when things feel uncertain. That misunderstanding alone costs men years. Point 2. Women respond to behavior, not promises. A man can mean well and still lose respect. Because attraction doesn't respond to words, it responds to what your actions signal. If your behavior says, "I'm afraid to lose you," that message lands louder than anything you say. Fear always leaks, in tone, in timing, in over-explaining. And once fear enters the dynamic, everything shifts. Point 3. The biggest mistake. Treating uncertainty as an emergency. Here's what usually happens. She pulls back slightly, texts slower, energy changes. The man panics. He sends another message. He asks what's wrong. He tries to clear the air. On paper, that looks mature. In reality, it signals instability. The moment you scramble for emotional clarity, you reveal that her mood controls your center. And once that happens, the frame is gone. Point 4. Attraction grows from steadiness, not reassurance. Attraction doesn't deepen because you reassure more. It deepens when a man stays unchanged by emotional waves. Same tone, same pace, same self-respect. A man who remains solid whether things feel good or uncertain becomes grounding. A man who adjusts himself to maintain approval becomes predictable. And predictability kills early attraction. Point 5. What tests really are. Most men hate the word tests. They imagine manipulation or games. But tests are instinctive. A delayed reply, a bit of distance, a shift in energy. She's not plotting, she's observing. Can he hold his frame, or does he collapse and chase reassurance? Most men fail here without realizing it. Point 6. Why trying harder makes things worse. When men feel the shift, they do more. More attention, more availability, more explaining. But attraction doesn't reward effort given from fear. Each extra push says, "I need this to work." And need is heavy. When a man stops reacting emotionally, pressure stops working. That's when the balance changes. Point 7. Emotional independence is the real power. The turning point is simple, but uncomfortable. Your emotional stability cannot depend on her behavior. When silence doesn't shake you, when distance doesn't rush you, when uncertainty doesn't control you, you stop chasing clarity, you start observing patterns. And people reveal themselves without you forcing anything. Point 8. Why giving too much too early destroys attraction. Men don't lose leverage because they're bad men. They lose it because they over-invest before it's earned. Instant replies, always available, canceled plans, deep emotions too soon. From his side, openness. From her side, predictability. Interest is not investment. Space allows her to step forward. Point 9. Restraint is self-respect, not manipulation. Restraint isn't playing games. It's knowing your time and energy are valuable. It's not flooding attention where effort isn't matched. When a man creates space, a woman doesn't forget him. She becomes aware of him. Space creates room for investment. Point 10. Self-respect is the final line. Self-respect isn't confidence. Confidence is how you feel. Self-respect is what you refuse to tolerate. You cannot negotiate respect back once it's gone. You cannot explain your way into it. You cannot earn it through over-effort. A man with self-respect doesn't threaten. He doesn't argue endlessly. He simply removes himself calmly. And the calm exit speaks louder than any confrontation. Here's the truth most men never hear. The power was never taken from you. You gave it away, trying to be liked instead of respected. When fear disappears, games stop working. When self-respect becomes non-negotiable, manipulation collapses. What's left is either genuine connection or nothing. And nothing is better than being controlled. If this hit, don't just nod, apply it. Watch how the dynamic changes when you stop reacting and start standing firm. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. Share this with a man who's still trying to earn what should be given freely. And comment below, which point exposed you the most? I'll see you in the next one. Stay grounded.